By American exceptionalism, we don't mean that the United States is simply unique, simply different. All countries are unique. All countries are different. Exceptionalism suggests more than that. It suggests superiority. It suggests something that all of us living in the United States have encountered a lot, and that is self-congratulation. That we are fond in the United States of congratulating ourselves for how wonderful we are, and how we are the best, we are the greatest, we are the strongest, we are the most prosperous, we are the freest, we are the most democratic, yes, we are number one. And we are, in fact, number one in many things. And we are very good, really very good in many things. And those are the things I probably don't have to tell you about, because anybody who is in the United States, anybody, even for a short time, knows, because the things that the United States is good about are immediately apparent. But that's not enough. That doesn't tell the whole story. And if we only dwell on what we all acknowledge are some of the remarkable things about the United States, we will be missing something very important, something, in fact, so important that we'll be shocked if something happens one day that arouses us from our complacency, and that makes us wonder how it is that a country so gifted, so special, so superior should experience suddenly a disaster that nobody can explain. And, well, yes, when 9/11 happened, that was an occasion perhaps for reflection on ourselves, a sober and critical reflection on ourselves. That did not happen in the higher reaches of government. The people at the top of the government are not given to self-reflection or to self-criticism. No, instead, the reaction was a kind of a hysterical reaction, reaching out. Well, reaching is a euphemism. War, violence, attack, do something, but no reflection. So I think that kind of examination of who we are as a country is needed, so we won't be unguarded, so we won't be shocked when something terrible happens, so we will perhaps begin to understand. This idea of self-congratulation sometimes manifests itself this way, that if you criticize the United States government, and a lot of people here have probably experienced this, as anybody who has ever uttered a word of criticism, and you're met with the exhortation, well, why don't you go somewhere else? Well, sometimes they say, why don't you go back to where you came from, which might be Brooklyn, you see. But somehow go somewhere else. A friend of mine who is a comedian, I have friends of mine who are comedians but who don't know it, but this is a guy who is a comedian and who knows it. But he's also serious. Some of you maybe have encountered him because he used to do comedy here in the Boston area. His name is Barry Crimmins, and in his serious comedy, he would very often be critical of certain things that the United States had done in the world. And people would say to him, well, why don't you move somewhere else? And he would say, I don't want to move somewhere else because I don't want to become the victim of American foreign policy.